All right, lovely. So this morning, welcome to Pilates and Strength. Thought we'd do some good all around body work here. We'll see if some other themes emerge. I have a chair, I have my strap, I have my weights, I have a blanket, just kind of prepared for anything. And I grabbed my clock, so I actually know what time it is, all ready to go. So good to see you on this Sunday. Ty was not feeling well, and I was able to jump in today. So let's start with some footwork. I really feel like I could use some of that this morning, and it's a nice grounding activity, and it's also really nice for warming up the legs. So let's turn the feet out. So we're going to externally rotate. Next couple of days, I'm going to be working on some hips things. So we'll do a little bit of that today too. So just thinking about we're rotating open here, heels together, and just find that standing posture to start. And I've got my chair, or you could have your couch or a wall or something if you wanted to for some balance. I'm just going to start with feeling the weight in my feet. So noticing, spreading the toes out. And you could rock forward and bring the weight to your toes. So you can really feel toes, big toes, all the toes. And the way we say toes. And then rock back a little bit, even letting the toes get light or come up into the heels. And I'm hanging on here. And can you sense where you're helping yourself kind of not fall backward in your legs and get the back of the legs? Come forward again. And where do you feel most of that effort? For me, I just really feel that in the lower legs and the toes. And then I'm going to come back again. And then I start to feel it a little more in my hamstrings, a little more back of my body, or squeezing my legs together so I don't go back too far. Then come to the center and maybe let your legs do a little movement here. And then let's bend and come back up and bend. And you can start with really not your deepest squat yet, just warming up those lower legs and the knees and the hip joint that we've moved. Those femurs have rotated just a little bit outward here. And then let's lift onto the balls of the feet. See if you can keep those heels together. Keep going. We're going to see if we can get things nice and warm. And notice where you're working for this exercise. As we do 10 or 12 of them, we start to have a little more sensation. And you might have some muscles that are, for me, it's the backside muscles more so than anything in the front, but that's different for everybody. Sometimes people feel it on the outside of their legs. And then I'm going to go back into this. I was just working the calves in a different way. Now I'm going to try to lengthen out the backs of the calves by doing this work. The backs of the calves, the backs of your legs, which are your calves. It's been a very busy week for me. So it's nice to be here taking care of the body, connecting into the mind. Let's come down and pause. Can we do a little bounce here? If that feels connected for you, go ahead and do a little bounce. The tail is soft, the tail is free. And then coming back up. And let's bring the feet to parallel. And as I was thinking about this, this is an interesting gait, also a gateway to the gate practice, right? So when I'm watching people walk around, a lot of us tend to walk around and kind of swing either one foot or both feet out. So let's do a little bit in parallel to kind of counteract some of that tendency to maybe be rotating as we walk. We're actually walking and we land, and it might not be this extreme, but if you watch people walk, you might see that there's at least one foot usually the right, that turns out a little more when they step. So let's find our parallel and just do a little bit more. Bending the knees, toes straight ahead, knees straight ahead. All things I never thought about before I started teacher training, right? This kind of orientation of my feet, feeling my feet, how the knees work, how they orient in the body. They don't twist. How that affects my hips, how my ankles and their suppleness or rigidity affect coming upward. Good. Let's bring the arms to genie and come down and pause here. Softening the face and jaw, getting nice and warm in the legs. Press down through your feet without coming up. Can you press down, really feeling the feet? Let your tail be free though. Can you sink down into it a little bit more? 3, 2, 1, coming up. Good. So maybe getting a little bit warm in here. Maybe the knees were like, ooh, that's a lot because we're working with the quadriceps. We get into the knees. Good. All the way up. Let's take a roll down here and see where the spine is at. Warming up a little bit in the feet. Now let's warm up a little bit in the neck and the upper back. Let's see where things are at. Chin forward. Starting to roll forward, shoulders start to come forward. And you can pause in here and just kind of sense, oh, what's going on with your body. Maybe that feels nice and easy. Maybe there's a little catch or lots of sensation somewhere. All the way down, all the way down. Breath coming in, breath going out. Breath coming in, breath going out. And I'm going to bring my arms up and let's warm the shoulders up a little passively here, circling in the shoulders. Shoulder blades are kind of coming up toward the ears in this position. We're letting gravity do all the work. Other direction. Letting the muscles be long around the shoulders and the upper back. Breath. Breath. Come to still arms here. Soft knees. You can even bounce them a little bit just to remind yourself. And then rolling up. And rolling the shoulders back into place. Good, quite the check-in. Let's take the arms out to the sides. And although I'm reaching straight out through my hands, everybody look at your hands. I almost always have one hand kind of moving in a little bit like this. So I want to put it in line with my body. And I'm going to look at my elbows as well. And give your elbows just a little bit of bend, even though you're reaching through your fingertips. Just a little bit of bend to your elbows. And then let's circle. Soft knees and soft tail. And the other direction. Small circles to start. Small. You can go slower, but these smaller ones I can usually kind of clip away. Start to feel the muscles get fatigued. I'm going to check in with my elbows again. Did they get really straight? I want my arms, my wings to feel like they can move. And the whole arm is involved, not just my shoulder. And now bigger circles, first direction. A little bit of bend in your elbows. And the other direction, getting a little fatigued in my arms, I will admit. There's gravity at work. And just checking out how fluid or if there's any information to take in as you circle. Can you make any adjustments to make it a little more smooth? Maybe your arms go a little lower and then coming down with the arms. Good. Good, lifting one shoulder up and tipping a little bit. And coming back, lifting the other shoulder up, tipping, letting the head tip. Last week we did a bunch of side bend things in one of my classes. And coming back. Must have been last Monday. Okay, arms back to genie arms. Coming into your parallel squat. Taking your seat back behind you to come down a little further. And really feeling the ball of the foot, big toe. Let's shift our weight and lift one foot up, maybe to the toes. Come back, shift, lifting, and back. Lifting and back. Lifting and back down. Good. Down. And let's go one more time each side. This time, if you'd like, you can see about balancing. Again, my chair is right here. And other side. Balancing. Giving my legs a workout. Come to center. And bring the hands out. As long as we have the chair here, let's take 1 foot back. Notice how I moved my foot out to the side just a little bit. So I don't have my feet in line with each other like this. So just check it out if you can on your own body. Are you trying to put your feet on the tightrope, or can they be apart like your hips are? And then back heel is up. I'm back far enough that my heel is up. And let's bend the knees. Lunging. Now you can make this harder. You could have your weights in hand. You could have your arms at your waist, your arms at your head. Good. Let's do 2 more. If it's getting a little wonky, just don't take it down as far, or take it a little slower so you can really concentrate. Stepping forward. Good. Let's take that same side back. Same side, stepping back. This time, keep that leg nice and long. Nice and long. Ball of the foot, see if you can get some get the right stance so that you can feel your ball of your foot on the floor. The heel can still be lifted, but I don't want you to just have your toes. The ball of the foot is going to be really helpful for balance here. So if we only have the toes, it can be a little tricky, right? To keep that balance. Now I've got my hand on the chair too. You're welcome to take the hand away or keep it there. Back leg nice and straight. How straight can you go with that back leg? Front leg nice and straight. Pulling in the belly, lifting a little bit. Let's take that front knee forward and just explore. Forward and straight. Forward and straight. Ball of the foot back there, still in contact with the floor. Nice straight leg back there. And you don't have to go all the way. I'm going probably 70% of where I could go. And I'm going to step forward. And it feels good to bring the weight back off of that back foot. I might even curl it up a little bit. You could even come to the top of your foot here. Well, that feels nice. Top of the foot, front of the ankle. We'll do a little bit more of that later. All right, let's step back with the other side. Ball of the foot on the floor. We're going to start out with our lunges, bending the knees. Best I can, I'm having some contact of that ball of the foot back there. Oh, I know the toes can get a little bit less supple, right? So we're doing the best we can to Find those toes and the balls of the feet. Now you could have weights in your hands if you wanted to make this harder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Both knees were bending. Let's take the feet forward. Take a little break. Softening mouth and jaw. All right, one more step back. This time, again, ball of the foot, toes, heel. I'm going to keep this leg nice and straight back there. Front leg can start out fairly straight as well. Front knee bending. Exploring going forward here. If you want something else to think about, you can pay attention to whether the belly is pulling in here to support your low back. So if you're feeling like everything is kind of dumping forward here, there's a little bit of attention we can give to kind of pulling things upward toward the ribs. And you might feel a lot more support in your back. And you might have plenty to think about with what, maybe there's a lot of lengthening going on here in the front of the one hip. Good. And then let's step forward. All right. I'm gonna move my chair out of the way. Yeah, I'm gonna put it with the seat side here in case I want to use it. And let's come down to the floor. You can have your weights nearby. Bring them by my arms. And coming on to the back, we get a second place to check in. We checked in on the feet. So let's bring the hands back to that position we had them in at the back of the head. Interlacing the fingers, hands behind the head, elbows outward, lengthening the back of the neck. If you'd like a little traction at the base of the skull. And taking the breath in, exhaling, coming up. Breath comes in, breath goes out. Breath comes in, breath goes out. And coming back. And just a reminder to release the tail. So let's come back up again. And if our theme could be what can release, even in the midst of the pose, what would that be for you? So we know we're working the belly. We know the arms pretty much are going to stay here. Elbows are reaching a little bit to help keep us upward. Do you tend to bring your pelvis in toward you or grip the tail? Maybe that could be a place to let go. Are your toes crunched up out here? Let them relax. 3, 2, 1, lowering back. Good, let's do that one more time. Maybe your feet come to your chair, maybe your legs are over your hips, coming up into your mini crunch. Let's grab onto the backs of the legs. can come up a little bit more. Really sense the belly, the shoulder blades are coming off the mat, my elbows bent and my arms are working. My legs are kind of pushing outward into the hands. Can I release my tail outward or even push it outward? Oh, it's a little bit different, right? Releasing it, maybe a little passive, reaching it a little more active. And letting go with your fingers a little bit, keeping your hands there, letting go of the grip. 5, breathe. 3, breathe. 1, and coming back down. Relaxing the shoulders down, collarbones out. Bring the hands alongside the body. And tuck the shoulder blades in a little bit. Feeling the feet on the floor. Feet in parallel, knees in parallel. And then starting to lift the pelvis, but let's actually think about curling the pelvis so that tail we were talking about coming in a little bit. And before I even get lifting off the mat too much, I've got just almost, I guess my sacrum is almost off. And I start to feel that length in the front of the leg. So maybe you could take it little piece by piece to start. And then the low back coming off. And then sense the middle of the back on your mat. And peeling up the next layer. Feeling the upper back or between the shoulder blades or just below that point. And then between the shoulder blades. And then maybe a little bit higher, getting to the upper shoulder blades. And that's pretty much the height of my bridge pose. Good, let's lift one heel and back down. Lift the other heel and back down. Well, first side again. And you'll notice as I lower my heel, it's not very smooth. I get a lot of little bit of shuddering there. And the other side, as I lower that heel down as though I'm pressing on a spring. And I can tell hamstrings are working into the glutes. I could try to let the glutes relax a little bit. Here's the place where I can let things go. Where can I let 30% go in the glutes maybe and still hold my pose exactly where it was? And then lowering down, sense the spine again. Broaden a little bit through the back as the spine comes down. And then roll the tail out, relaxing everything in the glutes, the legs. Good. And then let's take one leg in. I'm just going to let it hang out in here. The other foot on the floor, and you might have to make a little bit of an adjustment. It might feel better for that leg to be a little closer, for the foot to be a little bit closer to the leg. You might have to make that adjustment as you go here. We're going to keep the hands on the floor. They're not going to really do much here. We're going to see if we can push down with that one leg and lift the pelvis up. Push down and lift. Push down and lower. Push and lower. Push and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And put the other leg down. Bring that leg up that you just worked. Push down, lift and lower. Lift and lower. And bring the foot down. Good, nice work. Let's take the knees up. Bring the legs in a little bit. Let's reach one foot out, reach through the top of the foot so the toes get to reach, and switch, reach through the foot. A little bit different orientation for the foot. Reaching, reaching, getting broad with the toes, reach, 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 reach. Good. Bring one foot down, the other foot up. We're gonna lower just to the height of your other knee. Lower to the height of your other knee and come back up. Lower and back up. Reach to the heel just so we don't get cramping or anything. And then we'll go back to reaching through the toes 2 more times. And now lower further down. Oh, I hit my chair. That's okay. Coming down and up, down and up. Bring that foot back to the floor. Other side. Reaching through the toes a couple of times. I'm just going to lower to the height of my other knee. And then I'm going to do that a couple of times with the heel pointing. And back to the toes pointing. And the purpose, I just want to know where my leg is in space, how far it is. I'm going to come down and match the height of that knee. And now I'm going to go down further. Go down a little further. Nice straight leg. And then bring that leg in, feet on the floor. It's starting to feel a little more put together. I'm going to bring those shoulder blades underneath again. I'm bringing them toward the spine. Pushing down through the feet. We're going to come right up into your bridge pose. And we're going to shift the weight just like we did in standing. And we're going to lower that leg just to the height of the knee. 1, 2, 3. Foot down, switch. 1, 2, 3. Foot down, pause, come down if you need to. Come back up, switch sides, 1 more on each side. 1, control, 3. And back to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Feet down, pelvis down, and relax. I'm going to bring the knees in, give myself a little bit of help to come up to seated. Forgot about those weights. We'll get to them. So in your seated, let's come back behind the sitting bones and bring the feet in. Coming up on the balls of the feet in parallel, heels lifted. Coming up onto the toes on one side, lifting. Coming up with the toes on the other side, lifting to balance. Pulling back in the belly. So we have more control, and we're going to see if we can get really rounded in the upper body. And yet, watch my head wanting to go forward there. I'm gonna lift the head a little bit. And then coming down. Good. Let's come back into that, up onto the toes, and get really rounded again. And your choice, if you repeat what we worked on here, balancing, and if you'd like to roll back, your choice to come back up, rolling back and coming back up. Now, it took me a while to get to the point where I didn't use momentum, which would be hands behind the legs, letting my legs move. They kind of help bring you up, which is fine because it feels nice to roll. But having the hands in front kind of reminds me to keep the knees at this angle and to use my belly to find my way up. And here we are. Come on up to seated. I'm gonna give myself a little more space. And let's bring the hands behind you. If the hands don't feel good back here, you're welcome to come to your elbows. Pulling the belly back. And yet I'm trying not to collapse my whole upper body. This is a very tricky orientation because we want to have the belly really on to help support the movement of the legs. The arms are holding me, but not entirely all themselves. The belly is helping. So I can actually get kind of light in the arms back here. All right, let's take one foot in, toe, heel, toe, and back in. Let's reach the other one out, toe, heel, toe, and back in. Toe parallel to start. Toe, heel, toe. You can drag it, push it along the floor. Keep your feet and knees pointed toward the ceiling. And what about both? That gets tricky, doesn't it? Upper body wants to make some compensations. Toe, heel, toe. Toe, heel, toe. That one might even be better down here. Toe, heel, toe. Toes, heels, toes. I'm gonna come back up. Good. Wiggle it out. Let's do that same thing, giving our belly another workout and our legs. Gonna turn out this time. So let's turn out a little bit. And we're gonna reach out, toe, heel, toe. Come back in. Toe, heel, toe. Come back in. Toe, heel, toe. Toe, heel, toe. Kind of coming back to a very skinny Pilates V back here. The knees are outward. Finding the balls of the feet when I come back in. Keeping that belly turned on the whole time. Good. Up we come. Let's come back up to our feet. Grab your weights. In your standing position, parallel feet, weights in your hands. Maybe give a little wag to the tail. Mine found that last stuff a little bit. Maybe I needed a little more padding, so feels good to come up off of that. That changes day to day. It's not every day. Good. All right, let's start by taking that weight up overhead from the side body. Up and overhead. You can go ahead and go to both arms at once or continue one side at a time. Good. And bringing those weights down. Feet in parallel. We'll start there. Coming down into your squat. Kind of pretending as though I'm putting those weights down on the floor. I'm not coming all the way down to the floor, though you could. Good. Let's give our legs a little break and do some bicep curls. Landing in the feet, relaxing the legs as much as you can. Maybe you hold on there. Maybe that's your 30% less in this pose, is letting go of the legs. Are you gripping along the outside, inside, tail? Let that go. You can stand into your feet. You can let the weight go into the feet, soften the knees. And we'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing the arms down. Good. Let's work with rows. I'm gonna work a little bit with a middle row. So a lot of times I'll say pull them alongside your body, elbows staying in. Today I'm gonna take my elbows out a little bit and pull that way. Good. 3, 2, 1. And I'm gonna roll down. Take that weight downward. Let the knees bend generously. Let that weight pull a little bit on the shoulder blades and those muscles in there. Breath comes in. Slowly coming up, bringing that weight up with you. Shoulders onto the back. Good. Stepping the feet apart. Weight's going to go down in center. And if we've turned our legs out, so take the first few, don't have to take them as deeply. Let your muscles that are around the hip joint, the femur's turning outward, let them get online, pull the belly in. And when you're ready, if you want to take those weights down a little further, see if you can bend your knees more to get there rather than all of it being in your upper body. I could keep my hips kind of high there and still go forward. So see if it can be the bend of the knees bringing you down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're up to standing. You can move your legs if you'd like. Mine are feeling really nice and solid. I'm just gonna leave them right there. And I'm gonna take one weight up here, the other weight up. Let's bring the elbows toward each other and open. Toward each other and open. Find a place where this feels supported. Maybe the elbows have to come down a couple degrees. That feels better for me. When they're too high, I felt a little just not as smooth on one side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Weights coming down. Bring my feet back underneath me. Good. Nice job. So let's do some triceps, and then we'll see if we're going to repeat any of our upper body here. So for triceps today, let's do that standard bending the knees, seat back behind you, nice straight spine, elbows come in like we would do for a row. The elbows stay there, press back. Three, 2, gonna slow it down, 1, and come into standing. Ooh, nicely done. All right, we've done some nice leg work today. Let's see if we can end in parallel again. And we're gonna switch it up a little in that. Let's start with doing 10, where we're gonna go down slower than we come up. So we're gonna head down, figure out where your hips need to be, head down slowly. Where's the weight? Notice how the weight's gonna shift. Ankles are gonna move. Calves are gonna get stretchy. Push back up. Let's do 6 like this. That's 10's too many. Up. Two more. Keep those knees straight. And up. Good job, good work. Good. Now we'll do the opposite. We'll come down normal and we'll slowly push up through the feet. So coming down, pushing up. 3, 2, 1. Coming down, pushing down. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Down. Good. 2 more. 5, 3, 2, 1. Down. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yes. Exciting for the knees. Exciting for the knees. All right. Taking this last arm thing overhead. Really think these are important for the shoulders. So, and there's really not a lot of activity we do in our normal day to take our hands over our head unless you are working in a closet all day or painting the ceiling overhead. And yet upper shoulder, right? That whole top of the shoulder here, getting some nice work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down we go. Put those weights down. Whew, good work. All right, let's come to the back of your space. We did one roll down so far. Let's add into that and see how that feels now, because that was pretty early in class, rolling down. For me, big differences in the body and still some nice places to pause a little bit and just notice as I pull the belly in. And then when gravity takes over, letting the belly go. Letting the breath come in, checking in with the shoulders a little bit, letting them feel that passive feeling there in the shoulders. And then let's crawl forward to hands and knees or straight to your plank, your choice. And we get to plant the hands on the mat. We haven't done a lot of hands to the mat today, so it's nice to do this, to get grounded through the hands. We want to work with not having carpal tunnel, to work with anxiety. Getting the hands involved in the floor, in the earth is really nice. Whether you do this at the wall or on the floor, it's really good stuff. So lifting the head, we have the balls of the feet and toes again in our awareness, pulling the belly up. 3, 2, 1, knees come down, lower down. Hands coming in near the chest. I'm going to keep the hands at play. And tucking the chin just a little bit to lengthen the back of the neck. And pushing with your hands. So your hands are on the mat as though you're going to push yourself, propel yourself forward. And I'm on a sticky mat, so it's not going to happen. That's really nice. So I have something to push against. So I'm pushing against the floor. My elbows are reaching back. And my head reaching out. I'm going to let the head come up, the chest come up. Pulling the belly in. Let's leave the feet down, tops of the feet on the floor. Arms working. Let the inhale come in. Let the length in the back happen. And then let's come forward. Then relax everything onto the floor. Slide the hands out in front of you, a little bit broader maybe than they were at the side body, but pretty close. Find a place where the palms can find the floor. And as you press down into the floor, your elbows will lift. So the only thing in contact with the floor are the palms and my fingers. And same kind of thing this time, instead of, I guess I'm kind of pulling the same way. I was pushing my hands down and pulling back with my elbows. Now I'm going to press down with the palms and pull back. Same thing with my head. I'm going to let it lift. I'm going to reach the feet back. They could lift a little if you'd like, or just stay on the floor there, reaching through the toes, tops of the feet. Taking a couple of breaths. Full breath out. Let the neck have a little length. So tucking the chin just a little. You might want to look out in front of you. That's fine. Or you can test out lengthening the back of the neck a little bit. One more breath. Good. Bring the hands in. Push down to come up. Rounding the spine, walking the knees underneath you. Head relaxed. Ribs, back ribs getting nice and broad. And I'm going to walk the legs through and bring my chair back closer by. Maybe my pillow or blanket too. Pillow or blanket for later. I'm going to put my feet on this chair. I'm going to get a little bit close with my seat. If you don't have a chair, you can do the same things that we're doing on the floor, or actually your feet on a wall also works. I'm just going to do one little lift of the hips, pushing my feet or my heels down into the chair to lift my hips up. And this is far enough. If you can find a comfortable spot to hold yourself, you could come up a little bit further if you'd like. Notice how I don't have anything under my head yet for this. In a moment, I'll put that underneath my head, but not with my hips this high. And I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to try to look at the ceiling. For those of you that do shoulder stand often, you could bring your hands underneath there to hold your hips. But it's really not necessary to get this high even. We could keep our hips down here. The point is hips above the heart here at the end. Couple of breaths. Blood flow comes into the neck, into the armpits. It's a really nice reset for the body for the rest of the day. For our sleep tonight, I'm going to let the hips come down, bring the legs onto the chair, and now I can bring a pillow under the head. And let's just give this a minute or two of rest. And then as you're ready, bringing the legs in, rolling to your side. Spending a breath there. And coming up. And finish for the day. So really awesome to be with you today. I missed doing this class. Just worked out that Ty could be more consistent through the summer. So maybe I'll be able to sub again. And if not, we'll catch you in some other classes. But I'll be back a little more full time. I am hoping, cross my fingers, in the fall, because I will be not as much around in July and August online here. But you've got the video library And I've got a YouTube channel that I keep a lot of things on even before I started at Poe. Some classes are up there. So YouTube, Ingrid Schaller Wellness, if you are missing me, and know that I'll be missing you. So hope to see you soon. Thanks, Debbie. See you guys soon.
Thanks, Ingrid. It was nice having you here today.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to
It
be
was
here.
great.